Well, it's this kind of footage from CCTV cameras at your homes, which also captures public spaces, that Johannesburg's new bylaw states should be registered with the city and would aid in the fight against crime. Well, it also wants data from those cameras shared with the South African Police Service or the city's Metro Police Department. While the new bylaw was given the thumbs up in the City Council by the ANC, Action SA, EFF and the Patriotic Alliance.
You know, before you can install these cameras, there must be consensus. I mean, in terms of where you're going to be putting it on, you need to alert the city that you're going to be putting CCTV camera at this point at this area. And some of these cameras, you know, when we go and inspect and check them out, we might just have to check if they're not infringing at any other privileged terms in terms of the privacy and all of that. The city, they want, if there's an investigation going on, if there's any criminal activity going on, we're able to get a footage from these areas there.
We don't believe that the city has done sufficient public participation for this, especially the fact that they seem to have done only with targeted stakeholders, the public participation. None of the councillors I've spoken to, the ward councillors, seem to have received the invitation. Now, we believe that it's flawed because if they had consulted or at least sent the invitation to ward councillors, we have access to a number of community groups, WhatsApp groups, also CPFs, and they would have raised some of these concerns that are being raised now, and it could have been ironed out prior to the bylaw being promulgated or being discussed and finalized in council. Now, that's one of the big issues we have. One of the issues that we would have raised inside that participation is the approval process is bureaucratic, very vague, it's not very clear. There's no clear framework. In its current form, it's going to stifle investigations. It's going to cause more harm than good, where you would be able to share with your neighbor if you are in trouble in your house, or if something happens in front of your gate, where community safety groups could have shared it so law enforcement could get there. It unfortunately is not happening.
Well, the bylaw also prevents residents from posting their CCTV videos or captured criminal incidents on the internet or even on WhatsApp groups, which this law deems as unauthorized persons, but should instead be shared with the authorities. Well, some crime activists are against this move.
And so they now want to take control of each one of these cameras. They want you to register each one of your little cameras. While I'm standing here, I can see 6 cameras. So they've got to register 6 cameras here. And then the speed doesn't belong to you because it's now shining on your pavement where you're meant to be, where your criminals come to. So your defenses is now changing because you cannot share that video with your neighbor down there to say, watch out, I've just seen a guy going down the road, and you put it on the WhatsApp group in the street. You're no longer allowed to do that. And then on top of it, every time anybody comes out of this house, people are sitting in a control room and they can actually watch your footage. And we know that a lot of information gets leaked out through the law enforcement people to criminals.
At least one security expert says linking private security cameras could open the door for the misuse of information and corruption, including financial gain.
Our biggest problem today is information of anything, any human, any institution, any material, you name it, in the hands of the criminals. So that's the biggest concern. And unless the government can guarantee that they are absolutely in this endeavor non-corrupt, guarantee it, have the top and the best qualified people working with the top and the best qualified police and the top and best qualified people in the public assisting in these services, like safety and security institutions like ourselves and security firms. It will never work. There will be corruption, and information is power. And information is well, it's being used by cyber criminals as extortion, because then you have, there's two things criminals always want, is complete information in order to commit crime, or complete information in order to extort or sextort or do extreme extortions. And it's all about money.
Well, some residents with these private CCTV cameras are fed up.
I do have a problem with, we do know, unfortunately, there's corruption rife in South Africa, and what happens to that footage and what it gets used for, it is an invasion of privacy, not only for myself, but for people who visit me at home. They can see the comings and goings of who comes to my home, what we do in my home, and it's got absolutely nothing to do with anyone what I do in the privacy of my own home.
In terms of just asking for people for their private footage wouldn't be great. I mean, as a resident, I would say that it's not really great to give away your private information and stuff. But if it's for the cause of, if it's for a cause that is crime, and they're trying to help the community in terms of catching people, then I think it would be fair to ask the residents to use that footage, but to demand it, I think, wouldn't be right, you know, especially towards the privacy of the people, obviously.
Well, on the surface, it seems that this matter might even go before the courts. Chriselda Lewis, SABC News in Johannesburg.